Perfect. Yeah. I think let's get started with it, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on. Really do appreciate it. Just a quick intro. So obviously we're multi-IT and we're IT and cybersecurity as well as telephony organization communications. I'm here with Francois Compion. He is our CIO and cybersecurity director for anyone who hasn't joined previously. We like to do this on a quarterly basis. Just imperative on this month is Cybersecurity Month, especially leading into Black Friday next month. So I'm just going to touch on some very, very important topics. So I'm going to hand over to him now, and we can get started with it.
Perfect. So thank you very much for that. Thanks for introducing me. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome and thank you for joining us today. As Tari mentioned, my name is Francois Compion. I'm the CIO and Cybersecurity Director here at Multi-IT. Today, I'm going to be discussing what we can all do to do in terms of a transitioning from a threat. So when we speak about threats to trust, so I'm going to be sort of explaining or discussing how we can all transition from that threat cybersecurity landscape over to a trusted cybersecurity landscape. Merely by, if we can all just strengthen our cybersecurity defenses, and I'll take you guys through a bit of that journey and what that all entails.
No, perfect, Frank. Thanks so much. I think I just want to mention as well before you get started, guys, if you have any questions or any concerns or anything, please feel free to post them in the chat. And at the end of the session, we'll be able to get to them.
Perfect, great. So yes, so as I mentioned in the session, my aim or the aim of today's session is to provide actionable insights to help businesses build reliance, protect critical data, and earn client trust, and also understanding what that means for your business. So obviously throughout robust cybersecurity practices by applying that. Now, in a sense, by partnering with Multi-IT, not only do you benefit from implementing these layered defenses against cyber threats, but you also gain it in a sense becomes a strategic enabler for yourself as well, because we're building that trust within your environment, within your IT environment. We become that strategic enabler for your business. So discover how Multi-IT can empower you or our existing customers at the moment, whereby we build that trust, and in turn, your customers are also then provided with that additional layer of, let's call it, trust with yourself. So in turn, it's sort of a knock-on effect, But the idea is that we are there then to assist in maintaining that solid cybersecurity foundation for our existing customers and all new and potential customers. But it's understanding that with you having a trust environment or a trusted threat or landscape, IT security landscape, there's benefits to that when you are out there doing your own business, it's a let's call it an added advantage for yourselves. Look, as cybersecurity threats are rapidly evolving, and we're seeing it time and time again, day in, day out, organizations must adapt and be implementing more your modern defenses. So we are finding your old legacy out-of-the-box solutions are not doing the job. We're finding more and more when we do get called in to assist non-existing customers where we're assisting and jumping on board, we're finding that the out-of-the-box defense mechanisms are just not working. So by implementing modern defenses, we need to implement not just the defenses, but we're talking about strategizing. We're talking about fostering a culture of cybersecurity awareness within the organization. So it's not just the tools that we deploy and put in place. It's got to do with strategizing. How are you guys protecting yourselves? What is that culture within the organization that needs to at times be rectified and looked at? So whether you're an IT leader, business owner, a team member, I believe this webinar will equip you with practical knowledge to enhance your cyber readiness to reduce that risk. Jumping over to understanding the threat landscape. So getting down to the nitty-gritty, cyber threats have become, again, like I mentioned earlier, increasingly sophisticated with the likes of generative AI, and whatever being implemented as part of that. We're targeting, it's both the technical vulnerabilities as well as the human behaviors. They target those. The human is sort of your weakest link, where if your staff and your employees they're not aware of it, that could be your weakest link within your environment. So common attack vectors include phishing campaigns. So that's one of the examples where people aren't aware of what the phishing campaign looks like and they're clicking on links. And these lead to credential theft, ransomware attacks, and disrupt business operations. We also pick up from time to time where there's a cloud misconfiguration. So you're utilizing cloud services and you think you're all good and you're all happy, and it's to the detriment of the service provider that's providing you that service. But we do pick up cloud misconfigurations that expose sensitive data, and you don't necessarily want to be in that space either. The risk, obviously, of remote work. So a lot of our customers also have employees and staff that do work remotely. And we're seeing a very big drive and heavy adoption in terms of cloud. So cloud adoption is expanding, but in turn, the knock-on effect is your attack surface is also expanding now as well. So it's to protect your cloud environment as well. You can't just neglect the cloud, or just say to look after your local infrastructure, but you've got to look at your cloud infrastructure as well. So we can also step in and assist with that. So again, making use of traditional perimeter defenses are sometimes inefficient. We step in, we do those assessments, and we can advise on you've got a sufficient protection, or if not, we can then assist you with that. Organizations must also stay informed about all these emerging threats. So that's where we come in. We keep our customers up to date in terms of what's happening out there. We also assist our customers with their security strategies. If they don't have their own security strategies, we step in, we assist them in developing those security strategies, and we walk that journey together with them, with the intention of maintaining that resilience and protecting their assets. In terms of building that cyber resilience, obviously cyber resilience involves the ability to withstand and recover from cyber incidences. So we're talking about a layered security approach is essential, combining multiple technologies. You can't just deploy an antivirus and now you think you're protected. So, sorry, Taran, I just saw there was a comment about not seeing the slide deck. Can everybody see the slide deck? Okay, so I'm getting a few thumbs up in terms of seeing the slide deck. Thank you, guys. All right, perfect. All right, so in terms of, I suppose, a layered security approach, and I can maybe just add to this, Tyron, we are recording this webinar, so we can always distribute the webinar slide deck after the fact.
Yes, correct.
All right, perfect.
It will also be posted to our socials, so we can distribute accordingly from there.
Great stuff. Perfect. Cool. Alrighty. So quickly just to get back to that. So yes, obviously layered security approach is essential. Like I mentioned earlier, you can't just deploy an antivirus and you think you're protected. So combining multiple technologies and practices, you need to create a robust defense environment within your organization. So key components include the likes of firewalls. So we're talking about perimeter networks. I mentioned now antivirus, but antivirus just out of the box, not good enough. So we have products that it's got your antivirus, your endpoint detection and response, as well as ransomware detection tools. In addition to that, like I mentioned a bit earlier, your cloud approach, so when you got your systems in the cloud, we also do provide what we call SaaS, so that's your software as a service. We provide the protection as well as the defense solutions around that. So there's so many different components in terms of where you're processing your data and to take into account how to protect that information, how to protect those assets, and we can assist with that. In addition, I'm adding now another layer to that. So like I mentioned earlier, it's layering those security mechanisms. Is what we also provide is called remote management and monitoring, or in short, RMM. A lot of our customers have heard about this before, but in terms of RMM, we are able to then provide visibility across your endpoints and cloud environments. So we can then see what is the maturity level and security level of certain endpoints within your organization. It's critical for detecting threats at an early point, and it's in terms of not just detecting, but as well as responding very effectively. So we can see, have you got endpoints on your environment that are outdated? So the likes of your Windows 7s, Windows 10s, these are products that are end of life, not supported anymore. Windows 10 is now most recently in October, end of life, and we're there to walk that journey and try and assist our customers to make sure that they're on the latest and protected environments out there. So by implementing these layers, organizations can reduce their risk exposure, and enhance their ability to recover from these attacks. So in addition, so when it comes down to lessons learned, so in a real world attack scenario all these scenarios, they provide valuable insight on how these cyber threats manifest and how they can be mitigated. So we've seen too many attacks, and we obviously get pulled into how do we mitigate this going forward, and at times we are not the cause, but it's to see what actually happened out there. Was there no protection and implementation added to its security measures to protect the customer's assets? So again, if I just had to reiterate, so those examples again include like those phishing emails, but these phishing emails that are successful, whereby users are supplying user credentials, that then leads on to ransomware infection, that then halts your business operations. So the knock-on effect in terms of what happens here. I had mentioned this a bit earlier, like your cloud misconfiguration. So that can lead to that data breaches, loss of information, loss of data, get you in trouble with the information regulator. So we don't want that for our customers, and we're there to assist and fix that for our customers. Again, these insights highlight the importance of proactive defense measures. So don't just leave it on the back burner. You need to be thinking about these things, especially like I mentioned earlier, with the uprise in generative AI and AI technologies being utilized by the threat actors. It's becoming a bigger concern, and I'll show you. I'm getting to the point where I'll show you how rapidly it's happening. But yes, so we need to focus on how we're training our users, how we're doing regular system audits, what are the deployments looking like, what are the advanced security tools that are implemented within your environment, and also then learning from these scenarios. So once we do, when we walk together again, the journey down or walk the path with our customers on, are you ready for an incident response? Have you got an incident response plan in place? Have you actually tested it? Have you got a DR plan? Have you got a business continuity plan? We are able to assist our customers in doing those things, which we find most of the times are neglected. They're not necessarily in place, but they are recommended to be put in place. All right, and then this is one of my, I guess it's within the cybersecurity space, and I tell my customers it's not a question of if, it's more a question of but when. These are some scenarios or some cases, cybersecurity incidences that have happened within the last 3 months, and we've got some big names up there. We've got some gaming platforms where we've got a, if I go through it, or if I had to sort of put it that, if going back to the theme, not a question of if but when, but because the cyber attacks are no longer, let's call it a possibility, they are a certainty. I tend to go, I can't guarantee you it's going to happen. We just don't know when. And again, like I said, in the past few months, in the past few weeks, we've seen, yes, just some of the 4 major incidents. I've actually got a 5th one that I've added on, and I'll quickly touch base on that one. But in some of these where it's record-breaking denial of service attacks, disrupting gaming and cloud platforms. Globally, we've had, so recently there was a Jaguar Land Rover that was hit with ransomware, halted their production, and triggered about a £1.5 billion government response in terms of having to get involved there. We've got the European airports that they were facing flights that were being cancelled, so they couldn't accommodate the flights. The ransomware they were infected with ransomware, and it had impacted their check-in system, so they couldn't check in customers. So they had to actually cancel flights due to that. And then we've got also TransUnion that suffered a data breach, exposing millions of customers' records via their third-party Salesforce app. So this becomes a third-party due diligence that needs to, in a sense, be done to see TransUnion using Salesforce, their specific tenant was actually breached and attacked. And then one of the most recent ones that we've got was actually the Wits University. It was about 5 days ago that they had actually suffered a 0-day attack targeting their Oracle system. So again, another example where it had targeted their third-party system and their product, but it had impacted, let's call it their environment. They were actually then subjected to that. So these threats, they show that the threats are evolving. I recall doing a presentation about 2 years ago, something similar to this, and we do this quite regularly, but something similar to this where you'd look at a cybersecurity attack and you'd maybe find one a month. We're now at the point where you're finding 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attacks a month, and it's rapidly increasing. So it's increasing fast. So the brute force disruption, or if I could say it's from brute force disruption all the way through to data theft. If I think of them, the idea is we want to get in there and assist to protect you guys, making sure that in the event when these things do happen, are you protected? Were the right mechanisms and things being put into place to get that done? So what are the kind of practical defense strategies that we can assist you with? So to effectively defend against cyber threats, organizations must implement practical cybersecurity measures. So again, I've mentioned, you've heard some of these words, but you've got your firewalls that provide comprehensive perimeter protection. And we're doing that for quite a lot of our customers, looking after their firewalls, making sure the rules and everything is protected, making sure the right features and functions have actually been enabled on those firewalls. That's another important thing. So one thing, having a firewall, you've got to make sure all the things are in place. So integrate those multiple security features that come with a firewall. Endpoint protection I spoke about earlier as well. So it's not just antivirus, not good enough. It's antivirus. You need endpoint detection response as well as your ransomware detection. That's something that we can definitely assist with in terms of safeguarding devices from malware and unauthorized access. In addition to that, SaaS protection. So like I mentioned, your software as a service platforms. those should also be protected using behavioral analytic or analysis tools. So we've got those tools, they analyze, they're monitoring, they're able to detect anomalies and block potential breaches and threats and hacks. And then last but not least, basically with the RMM or the remote management monitoring and management, which includes then the regular patching. So patching, updating those devices, dealing with incident response planning. These are all also critical components of a strong defense strategy that we can assist, Multi can assist you with this as well. And we are assisting a lot of our customers with this already. So if we're not there yet and you need this assistance, please reach out. Let us help you with this. And again, getting back to the trust advantage. So strong cybersecurity practice not only protect data, but they also enhance, again, an organization's reputation to build that client trust. So when you're engaging with your clients, we're there to help you, in a sense, grow your business with this reputation of your cybersecurity environment is protected and you are looked after and you can be trusted. In terms of the transparency in security policies, proactive defense measures, and quick incident response demonstrate a commitment to safeguarding client information. So in the event you are impacted by these and you're very quickly able to get up and running, that gives your customers that bit of trust going, I've partnered with the right customer, your customers are happy, and in a sense, you grow that trust with your customers as well. So businesses that prioritize cybersecurity are also viewed as reliable. So if you are potentially getting a new customer and they ask you all these questions, you're able to very quickly respond with, yes, we've got this, yes, we have that, all of our systems are in place. So you are then viewed as reliable and trustworthy, which can then, it's a competitive advantage. So if the business owners out there are listening to this, there's a competitive advantage if you've got all these right mechanisms and security tools in place. So especially in today's digital landscape. So yes, by turning cybersecurity into a strategic asset, organizations can foster long-term relationships with their clients and their stakeholders. And then again, so a culture of security awareness is essential. I'm sort of reiterating these again. So it's essential for effective cybersecurity. Employees should be trained to recognize, again, phishing attacks. I know I keep going on and on about these things, but it's essential. We have to do this. Understand the importance about secure passwords. When it comes to reports, they've got to report suspicious activities. Don't just turn a blind eye and, I saw something, but just ignore it. Report it. Log those support tickets. Let us investigate. Let's see what's going on there. Encourage open communication with security concerns. So if you're seeing something that doesn't look right, raise those concerns. Blow the whistle. Integrating security practices into daily operations helps reinforce the importance of this. And then again, like I mentioned, regular training sessions is required. Simulating attacks, sorry. So simulating cybersecurity attacks is also a good example that we can also do for you. So we can simulate those cybersecurity attacks. And then, of course, clear policies also empower employees to act in first line so they actually understand what is the process, what's the procedure, being that first line of defense against cyber threats. Then a few tips. So again, multi-IT, we can recommend several practices, key practices to maintain strong security. Maintain a strong security posture. So by conducting these regular risk assessments, help identify vulnerabilities and prioritize mitigation efforts. And then keeping systems and software up to date, which is what we do again with our RMN tools. So ensuring those protection or that the endpoints are protected against known exploits. Testing those incident response plans. Don't neglect them. I know I've mentioned earlier, I'm just reiterating again. Test those incident response plans. Don't just document them, test them. Do a real world scenario. Do that scenario planning. Improve. In doing that, it improves also your reaction time and to see, is that acceptable for the business? So you've got to do those exercises. Additionally, leverage threat intelligence and stay informed. So engage with us. If there's certain concerns, there's things you want to know about cybersecurity, reach out to us. We can assist you with that. We can provide you that information. And then, as Tyler mentioned, yes, we are in Cybersecurity Month. We jump in the gun here a little bit. We're giving already early Black Friday specials. So what we are doing, Tyler, if I'm correct, I think we're giving this back at like a 2023, 2024 price. But yes, these are Black Friday specials that we're already giving to our potential new customers as well as existing customers on some of these if you guys do need these. And yes, we're providing some of these Black Friday specials as well as outside of not just with the cybersecurity, with the pen testing and the vulnerability, with the free assessment that we can also provide you, but we're also doing a few Office 365 and 3CX promotions and specials that we can also provide you guys with that. And I think that being said, I'd like to thank you. That concludes my presentation on what we can do to transition transition to a trusted cybersecurity landscape, but merely just by strengthening our cybersecurity defenses. Tyron, with that, I think I'm happy with that. If there's, I guess, any questions, we can open up the.
Yes, yeah, they are. Thank you so much, Frank, for that. That was very insightful. It's happening, and yeah, really do appreciate it. One of the things, obviously we've got a lot of end users on here who, want to be wary, especially coming up to Black Friday. It's one of the most hit days in the world. What are some of the latest threats that we will encounter this Black Friday that we need to be aware of?
So what I do foresee, and we've seen this time and time again, it's your busy season, and everybody's going to be jumping on that bandwagon with Black Friday specials. So be very wary of if it's a trusted platform. So and not just a trusted platform. So you might find that your threat actors out there could masquerade as the likes of your Amazons or your Takealots or whoever. So be wary. These are your typical phishing attacks. They're going to try and con you onto that they are. Let's call it Takealot. I'm going to take Takealot as an example. So they're doing the blue dot sales. Somebody could be masquerading as if they are Takealot. When you're receiving those emails, hover over those email addresses. Make sure that it is indeed Takealot that's emailing you those specials, because what ends up happening is if you're getting an email, as an example, there's going to be a campaign. You're going to think it's legitimate. They're selling a mouse for what have you. Let's call it R1. And it's too good to be true kind of thing, but you're going to go click on that link. And if before you even click on the link, hover over those links, make sure that it is indeed Takealot. If it's Takealot, you might be surprised that mouse might be going for R1, that Microsoft mouse that you've always been wanting. But I think just to answer the question, there's going to be an increase, especially when it comes to Black Friday. I've used Takealot as an example. Be wary of, you would in a sense know as well who you subscribe to. So if you are, I'm going to take examples. Let's say you have a Woolworths account, or you've got a Edcon account, or you've got whichever account it is. Make sure that firstly you would know that you've got accounts with them. But if there's been an information leak out in the industry, somebody else might know that you are a Woolworths customer. So don't just believe that this email is coming from Woolworths. Just hover over those links and just make sure, look, is this Woolworths indeed that's got a Black Friday special that they're hosting?
Oh, perfect. And cool. I know last year one of the big ones was the banks. Banks would, if people would emulate the bank saying that you got fraud, they would get access into it. What kind of protection should the users be aware of, or the people be aware of to just identify that this is a scam? Please rather call your bank, whoever it is that you're dealing with, and verify it.
Correct. So again, in that space, and I think I'm going to sort of tie it back to the Black Friday. So in that particular case, again, users will also attempt to intercept your banking transaction. We've also seen it time and time again where you're actually processing a payment, and if there's a threat actor that's managed to intercept that let's call it that process flow or that traffic, you'll at times you might even get, if your banking profile does give you SMSs or emails, things like that, just ensure the validation that those transactions are going through. At times we've picked up where a customer or a client does a transaction. I'm going to take an example. It was a R100 transaction. I know certain banks don't necessarily SMS you when it's under a certain limit, but let's take the example that it's a R100 transaction and the threat actors intercepted it. They would in a sense intercept that, informing you saying, hold on, it's been reversed. Please process a payment to this. In that case, most definitely to protect yourself from financial fraud, losing money, contact your bank, inquire with them prior to clicking on a link and reprocessing a payment, because in theory you would have paid the bank or paid the merchant, as well as now you would have paid the threat actor. So I think just be wary of those. They are able to at times, depending if you've got an endpoint that has been breached and you're not even aware of it. So if it's your own personal device that's been breached, you're not aware of it, There could be keyloggers, keystroke loggers on there. They could actually be monitoring what you're browsing, things like that. So in that case as well, I think tools, to come back to that point, your antivirus. Make sure your antivirus is up to date. If it's a company device and your company device is with us, we are there. We're making sure we, on a daily basis, we're checking that all our antivirus products are up to date and the signatures are up to date. If it's your own personal device, including your mobile devices, make sure that you're doing scans on those devices. If it's I'm going to use an example. If it's a Samsung Android, they've got built-in Knox as a security profile. Just do those antivirus scans on your personal endpoints. Make sure that your antivirus is up and running. There's no warning sign that says your Defender's not working or not operating. Just make sure that your antivirus is up to date. Patch those devices. If we're patching them, we're ensuring that those devices are patched. If it's your personal device, make sure it's patched. Don't delay those updates as well. So again, I'm linking back to a mobile device. If your mobile device says there's a security update, please install that security update. Another example that we've had as well, because a lot of these transactions are performed via a web browser, if your web browser does inform you that there's an update pending or it needs an update, click on the update, close all your tabs, update, let it reboot, and then continue. There's a reason for that.
No, perfect. Thank you. And then, Mone's asked a very good question here as well. Will opening an email but not clicking on the link also have an opportunity to attack?
So with phishing attacks, viewing it like that not necessarily would have triggered anything. What it has got the ability to do is, if the threat actor has enabled a read receipt, at least the threat actor would be able to see that this was indeed read. In terms of a threat, you would be safe because you have not clicked. As long as you haven't clicked on anything, you would be fine. The only sort of information there that the threat actor would receive, like I mentioned, is that you might have read the email and it gets a confirmation saying email read, but it hasn't compromised your account. Where in the event that you have clicked on a link and you then realize, hold on, I might have compromised my device, please do reach out. If you're with multi-IT, reach out to us, reach out to our support team, let us get involved, because even if you click on a link and you think nothing happened, by clicking on a link can trigger behind the scenes or behind let's call it, you won't even be aware of it. It's behind the scenes in terms of the network that it could be downloading something in the background without you being aware. Those are the typical zero-day attacks. Just by clicking on a link, even when you see, hold on, this doesn't look legitimate, at cases, depending on what kind of attack it is, especially with the generative AI and AI attacks, they are a lot more sophisticated. So you'd be clicking on a link, realize, hold on, I made a mistake, and then just back out of it, close the browser. That could still be too late. So if you do come across that case, please stop, pause, reach out to support, let us investigate, make sure we do a full scan, check that indeed there hasn't been a zero-day attack that's been deployed to your device or malware. So I hope that answers the question. So I think just by viewing the email, you would be safe. If you've clicked on something, that's a different story. And if you've gone even further than that, where you're providing credentials, we would then need to also reset those. Yes, we at most of the times with a lot of our customers, we do enable that multi-factor. So we also push that multi-factor authentication is enabled. So if you have accidentally gone into a link, thought it looked all legit, provided credentials, and then realized, hold on, I made a mistake, that is the most critical one in terms of reaching out to us, because you've, in a sense, provided those credentials to the threat actor. Let us get that fixed for you as soon as possible. Don't leave that.
Perfect, Frank. Sorry, I know you can spend the whole day talking about it and getting on with it. I see your passion in it. So really, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for jumping on. We will definitely answer all the questions that have come through. And if you do have any further questions, please do reach out. Or want to know a little bit more, please feel free to reach out. But thank you very much, everyone, for your time.
Thanks, everyone.